foolish mortals.
Hello there. Are you insane? Get out of here!
Remain seated with your seatbelt fastened.
Right, off you go.
Welcome to Average Joe Orlando. Hello, theme park goers. Welcome to another not so average list bonus episode. There are 5 weeks, or 5 Tuesdays, I should say, this month. So usually I go through my podcast as the not so average list, and we have our deep dives and our reviews, and wrap it up with a recap of the month. But kind of a weird month. Not only do we have an extra week, so between doing the list, review, deep dive, doing another list, and then also our monthly recap is going to be the one that comes out next week. Is going to be a yearly recap. So round out all the theme park news that happened in 2024, and then look ahead. But this one's going to be our not so average list of the favorite Orlando holiday offerings. So just what's going on here at the local theme parks or around Orlando for the holidays, and talk about some of the favorite things. I already did a lot of deep dives and reviews and lists about Universal, SeaWorld, Disney, resorts, everything that goes on here for the holidays. It's a busy time between what's going on for the holidays and then crowds and the actual holidays, and very condensed. So Halloween here is definitely my favorite and will always be my favorite. But we get a lot more time with that one. So we get August, September, October, and now even early November. Halloween Horror Nights went to November 4th this year. And then you have about a week or two break, and then all of a sudden some of the holiday stuff's popping up. Universal probably starts the latest, being the week before Thanksgiving. And then they end actually on the 30th when SeaWorld goes into the new year a little bit. Disney does all their parties, but then they end their parties before the holidays. And they only end them because all the event stuff, well, one, the parks are packed. And two, a lot of the stuff that happens at Mickey's Very Merry is free during that week for the holidays. So regular park guests that are just paying to get in, I shouldn't say just paying to get in, a day ticket is expensive, but they get a lot of those holiday offerings too. So it's a little different than Christmas, I would say, a little different than Halloween, a lot of stuff going on. But let's talk about some of the favorite things. But I figured best way to start is talking about some of the stuff that used to happen down here and that I miss. So I would say some of the favorite things, and then we'll get into the favorite things that are actually here, would be the castle lights over at the Magic Kingdom. I know I had family that come in and they go, oh, are the icicle lights still on? And it's like, no, Disneyland still does the icicle lights. Disney World during COVID switched to the projection show or the projection on the castle, which is cool. You could do a lot more with it, but it's definitely less impactful, I guess would be the best way. Of course, we don't have to suffer with the crane behind the castle for 2 months prior, 2 months after to set them up and take them off. So I do see that being a plus, that you don't have to worry about all of that to get the lights on. However, it is something about those icicle lights on the castle. Also something about Cinderella making the wish and not Elsa, since it is Cinderella's castle, but let's not go down that rabbit hole today. The other thing that I definitely miss, which I definitely have spoken about, is the Osborne family spectacle of dancing lights. That was probably my favorite. I went to Hollywood Studios last week, just at night to walk around, see everything. They definitely have stepped up their holiday game, I would say, in the park, but I think they had to for Jollywood, so they just kind of turn everything on non-Jollywood nights because it's all there, might as well. So they definitely do have some great normal decorations, but when you went over to the Streets of America, RIP, and got to see the lights, and then we'll play Feliz Navidad and everybody would be dancing, I definitely have to say I missed the Osborne lights. That was always a highlight. I can't believe that they took that away and didn't find a new place for it. There's enough space here to do everything. Bring that back. And also, I miss Mickey's Jingle Jungle Parade. So I guess in turn, I miss Mickey's Jammin' Jungle Parade. That was the parade over at Animal Kingdom that had a holiday overlay where the mini float would smell like hot chocolate and the sleigh bells going and all the characters. That was fun. They did add stuff over at Animal Kingdom, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But that parade at Animal Kingdom, definitely miss having for the holidays, the Christmas parade. And then lastly, I would say I definitely miss the old SeaWorld Christmas Village. So SeaWorld, I did a whole episode on it. I do love SeaWorld Christmas. However, they used to have where Pipeline is, the current surfing coaster, which is meh, it's fine. They used to have that whole area as a special event space, so it stayed empty most of the year, except for special events or rent, when they rented it out. But it was a great area during the holidays because it was full of all these different pathways. They had character meet and greets. They had a little fire pit with hot cocoa stands, and they had live music. And it was just the ultimate like little Christmas village, and it felt like a miniature version of something that you can get in Europe, one of those Christmas markets. But they demolished it to make a roller coaster, and then they kind of spread out all their stuff throughout the park. So everything that they still had in there is essentially still around. It's just around the park, but it kind of misses that little area along the water. So definitely miss the old SeaWorld Christmas. Don't get me wrong, there has been some great improvements through all of them. And some things that have stayed, luckily, and hopefully will always stay. SeaWorld did also have the show called Miracles, which had a singer and a saxophone player during a Shamu show, and they unfortunately stopped that one too. That was always fun too. But I guess in no particular order, let's start. And I would say to make my favorites list, I sound like Oprah, except you don't get anything at the end of this, would be probably going through the different hotels. So starting with the Disney hotels for the holidays, always look forward to checking out the Grand Floridian, the Boardwalk, and the Yacht and Beach Club. Those would definitely have to be the 4 resorts at Disney that are must-dos and must-sees. Definitely the Grand. The other ones are cool, but not like a must-do for some. However, I do have to say all their decorations are pretty fantastic. And then also Animal Kingdom Lodge is just always fantastic, and so is Wilderness Lodge. But the Grand Floridian has the giant gingerbread house where you can go up and buy a piece of gingerbread from there, see the giant tree. Everything is old Victorian. Just has that old school kind of grand Disney feeling, like a TGIF episode. If you know, you know. And the Boardwalk, Yacht, and Beach always have different displays going on, and every year it changes, something that the bakeries will do. Plus, the whole vibe around that area is always nice, especially at night. And then I would also have to say, I did mention briefly DAC Lodge, or Animal Kingdom Lodge, and Wilderness Lodge. Those lodges just always have that warm, homey kind of feel to them. So during the holidays, it's a little extra, especially with the Christmas tree in there. But of course, I don't want to forget Universal Hotels. Always a good place to pop around. I like to do it any time of the year. It's definitely great during this time of the year because it's extra cooler out and a little more relaxing to walk around. Plus, to get to all the holiday decorations is great. My next up, I would say, would be Disney Springs for the trees and the snowfall. Now, crowds aside, definitely try to go on a non-busy night. But they have the tree trail. And if you remember back in the day, they used to do the tree trail in the old bus loop, which is by the marketplace. And it would just be like a one way in, one way out, go see all the trees. Then it got so busy in there, they ended up spreading it out throughout the whole Disney Springs. And now they do it as like a tree hunt, kind of like they do over at Epcot with the different events. And you can go and look for them all, and you get a button when you finish them. And it's a free activity, which is really great as well. And then you have the snowfall in the main area. So that's where the main bus stops let you off. Over by, if you know, Sephora, guest relations, they have the big tree. We were there this season, and it started to do the snope. So the soapy snow. Started snowing out. The music started playing. Oddly enough, they played the 50th anniversary song when I was there. Not sure what that was about. And then they had a band come out and did all these dancing with the kids and some adults, and it was fun. And Disney Springs does a really good job for that. So I would definitely say Disney Springs, between the trees, the snowfall, all the entertainment, just very Christmassy in general. Also, Jock Lindsay's does a hangar at the Hangar Bar. They do a specialty menu that you can look forward to every year, and extra decorations. So to me, a nice little always have to go to Disney Springs every year for the holidays, just to get a little feel of it, just avoiding Friday nights, Saturday nights, holidays, anything after 10. I have my times that I like to go. I promise. I'd also say City Walk is another one over at Universal. So City Walk, a lot of people compare it to Disney Springs. I find them to be very different. City Walk, much smaller, a lot less restaurants or things to do. But as a big Universal fan, I enjoy City Walk regardless. But I do have to say, something I look forward to, and I'm glad they brought it back this year, and they didn't have it last year, but they had it the year prior, is the Red and Green Coconut Club. So the Dead Coconut Club, or the Red Coconut Club, or the what is it called? Cursed Coconut Club. They keep changing it for all the seasons and make the Coconut Club, the Red Coconut Club, into Layover. And this year in particular, I think is one of the best ones they ever did by making a full-on Christmas bar that just feels pure holidays. Even though you might be there in shorts and a t-shirt because it's Florida, it's a great holiday layover. And City Walk's always just beautiful with the palm trees all lit up on the water. And you can just grab food or drinks, sit out there. And then they usually have some special offerings going on, usually stilt walkers. Universal loves stilt walkers, and they'll have all that going on. So City Walk is definitely on the list. My next one's going to be Disney Parks at Night for the holidays. And there's specifically a few things I wanted to point out for the holidays that I have to see or really enjoy. Or people like to say at the Epcot Ball, but I will correct you, Spaceship Earth. They do the projections with the candy cane looking over it, and then they'll do sometimes the different music out there. But Epcot at night is wonderful in general, but definitely Epcot at night during the holidays, enjoying what they can do on Spaceship Earth is pretty great. It's crazy to think those lights were just put on for the 50th and they weren't there the entire time. It's like, what did this look like beforehand? But seeing Spaceship Earth all lit up like a giant candy cane at night, always a nice treat. Also, Sunset Boulevard over at Hollywood Studios. It's that old-timey Hollywood. The whole park really is, except for Star Wars Land. That's just kind of dark. But Sunset Boulevard especially, over on Hollywood, that's where the Tower of Terror is that retro holiday kind of feel and look. They do the projections on top of or on the Tower of Terror, and that definitely is one place that I always want to take at least one stroll every holiday season. Speaking of taking a stroll down the street, Main Street USA over at the Magic Kingdom is another one. They don't do a ton of decorations in the entire Magic Kingdom park. However, what they do is on Magic Kingdom, between the tree in the front with the popcorn strand on it. They don't do the garland across anymore because of the parade floats, but they do them on the side. Now you have the projections on the castle. It's definitely that overall just everything is Christmassy. You have the wooden soldiers that I always remembered even from my kids. So Main Street definitely during the holidays is another great one. And a more recent addition in the past few years, I'd say Discovery Island over at Animal Kingdom. Now they do, as I alluded to earlier, the Merry Menagerie, where they do puppets. They usually have a violinist. They do a lot of great lights with these different like owl lights and making it feel very Christmassy and holiday-esque. And then they do the projection show on the tree. So I remember back in the day, making myself feel old, when Discovery Island was like tiny, and then they kind of blew it out and pushed everything up and redid the trails and really made it much larger and the gift shop larger. And that's when they started with the projection show on the tree, and everything just looks great. So they really do a good job. The only one critique I would say is that it closes early a lot at Animal Kingdom. Luckily for the holidays, it does stay open a little later. Plus, it gets darker earlier, so you do get to see the lights. Plus, obviously, if you're at Animal Kingdom at night, go to Pandora. Gotta check that out. Overall, in general, just the park walks at night is nice. So I said my Disney park ones that I like and the 4 main things at each park. But I would say over at the other parks, always good to walk around at night. So SeaWorld does the Sea of Trees. Always have to go to SeaWorld and see the sea, S-E-E of S-E-A. Yeah, of trees. And they do a lot of great atmosphere. They have so many lights everywhere. Busch Gardens Tampa does a great lights festival as well if you want to head down to Tampa. However, here in Orlando, SeaWorld does a great job, and they have so many lights. And I don't know if anybody else gets jealous. I already had, I think it was like the second week my lights were up outside, a whole strand went out. And I was like, how? And then you go to like these parks and they have literally just strand after strand and they all are on. And I'm like, how did you do that? I can't get 4 strands to all stay on, and you got whatever. And then Universal also. Universal at night. They really do a great job in their New York section of the park. I think that would definitely be a highlight is New York. And then also if you go to Hollywood, they have all the palm trees that have all the Christmas all the way up. So it's always nice to stay in that park after, like right when the park closes, and let everybody else leave and start just enjoying and sitting. Now, I'm not saying stay in the park after closing and be the last person out. Don't be that guy, but to linger a little bit after it closes and kind of just enjoy the ambiance and all the lights in the park. Always a nice one. I'm not saying walk to the back of the park either. Like walk up towards the front. Make your way towards the exit, please. Let's move on to some of the shows that I would say that are great and things that you can't miss during the holidays. One of my favorites is Winter Wonderland on Ice. Now, this is the ice skating show over at SeaWorld. Now, SeaWorld has a huge ice skating area out on the water. If you didn't know, this is the same set as Jaws 3, where Jaws was in there. But they don't really use this anymore. If you watch Jaws 3, not a great movie, but if you watch Jaws 3, they have an water skiing show back in the day at SeaWorld. They don't really use this theater much during the year, but during the holidays is really when it shines. A giant ice skating rink, which somehow they keep it cold, and they do a great ice skating show with some really good tricks. For the most part, it's simple, but when they spin that girl and they just grab her ankles and just keep spinning her around, I gasp every time. I don't know how they do it. It's terrifying, but it's a great show. And they do a whole number from Home Alone. They do a whole number from the Polar Express, where the penguins come out and they do hot chocolate. It's just very Christmassy. And a lot of times, if you watch the last show, I spoke about this on a previous episode, it'll lead right into the fireworks. So you can stay in your seat and just watch the fireworks from your seat and then fight the crowds on the way out. But Winter Wonderland on ice, definitely a great ice skating show. And if you have to see one ice skating show, this one or the one at Jollywood, if you consider the one at Jollywood an ice skating show, since the whole thing is the size of like my kitchen, the stage, I would definitely say the one at SeaWorld is not to be missed. Another one at SeaWorld, not to be missed, and if you listen to my SeaWorld episode, you know what I'm going to say, A Wondrous Night. That one left for a few years and then came back, luckily, and I'm so glad it is back. This is their nighttime holiday show that tells you the story of the first Christmas, and they do a big chorus and choir, and and they do a lot of gospel music and really high energy and fun. And then they have these puppets, and it's 3 different puppets that tell the story of the first Christmas from their eyes. And then at the end, they recreate the first Christmas with the manger scene. However, all of a sudden, you're just sitting there, especially if you get an aisle seat, which I recommend. Animals just start walking by you. So you'll have all of a sudden a camel walk by you, and goats and donkeys. And all these animals just start filling up this big indoor theater and coming on stage and recreating the first Christmas. And it's really cool. And yeah, I've never seen anything like it in a theme park. How they get all the animals to behave that well, I have no idea. So it's this weird mix of high energy and all the emotions, and a really good show that you go, this was included with the price of admission? All right, SeaWorld, I see you. Another great show, shifting gears from the first Christmas, will be How the Grinch Stole Christmas. So Grinchmas over at Universal. So Universal definitely likes to capitalize on the Grinch. It seems like that's their bread and butter. Everybody has their thing, and Universal's like, hey, we got the Grinch. Now, they focus more on the Jim Carrey version of the Grinch, and they have the Dr. Seuss Landing at Islands of Adventure, which turns into basically the Hula Days. And they have the Who's that walk around with their little like button noses and will interact with you. And then you can go meet the Grinch if you can get in. The Grinch meet and greet has gotten increasingly popular over the past few years. If you do the tour or you do the breakfast, you will be guaranteed to meet him. Or if you want to get there and just wait in line for 2 hours, he gets very popular, but he's a fun character to meet because he will interact with you and roast you and just have a lot of fun. The stage show has been the same basically since it started. They made a few changes in the past few years, but it's in the old Blue Man Theater. So it's a gigantic theater. And then it's one of the sound stages, and it's a big set, all with live singing and Max the dog. So Max is played by a real dog. And actually, found out it is a rescue. So Universal has a few rescue dogs that are featured in their show. And so Max is in the show. So even if you're not into the Grinch or you're not into, Mannheim Steamroller who did the music, go for Max. That's what I go for. I'm there to see the dog. That's all I want. But Universal also does one other thing that I would say probably at the top of my list will be Universal's Holiday Parade featuring Macy's. So I did talk about this in my deep dive about them, but they used to have a Macy's parade, and I remember ever since I moved here, I'd go see it, and it's a little cheesy. It was just kind of people walking, waving, a lot of people dressed like clowns, like in the old Macy's parade, a few balloons, and some music, nothing special. Well, in 2017, they completely revamped it, and they dumped a lot of money into this. They built all new floats. They had all these balloons made just for them of their different IPs and characters by the same people who make the balloons for Macy's. So I don't recommend if it's windy to go see it, because if it's windy, the balloons are going to be very low, if out at all. I went once and it was so windy. You felt bad for the balloon handlers. I'm sure they struggled. That's not an easy thing to carry. But on a non-windy day, it's great. They have the giant Minion balloons, the Shrek balloons, Madagascar. Then they have all the traditional ones as well. And also a great soundtrack and overall a very, very long parade. So this show really goes on for a long time. There's a few good places to watch it. I tried a few different areas just to kind of get an idea because I'm a nerd like that. Hollywood is great because that's where it kicks off. It follows the same route as their daytime parade or their Mardi Gras parade where it kicks off and does a full circle and loop. So starting over at the Monster horror makeup show and then ending there. So if you stand there, you can watch it twice. And it basically, when the last float leaves, aka Santa, the other float's coming back. So it really fills up the entire route at once, which is super impressive. So if you're standing at kickoff, you're going to get to see the entire thing. However, if you are standing on the other side of it, you are probably going to be trapped in the park because it's very hard to get through because it is such a long parade. But it happens every single night, which is another thing I like. It's not just on select nights. It's on every single night during the holidays. It's a great parade. It's a long parade. And they also will come out during the daytime too. So I know I've walked over before and the different characters will come out. And then sometimes the floats will come out over in the Hollywood area and the different characters will come out in the New York area and they'll do meet and greets. So you get to meet everybody from the parade because there's a lot of unique characters that you'll never get to see. I don't think I've ever seen Shrek and Fiona with their Shrek baby. I don't know what the kids are called. But they have everything in there. So really good one. Universal's Holiday Parade featuring Macy's. Got to do the full name for nomenclature, I tell you. So anyway, that is my list of what I would say are some of my favorite things on my not so average list of my holiday offerings here in Orlando. As you can see, I pick a lot of things that are included with your annual pass. I don't like to go to upsell events if I don't have to. I would prefer to just keep it like a normal guest, get to enjoy it, stand in the back, just take it all in and enjoy it and enjoy the holidays. So I hope you got to experience some of these events this year. Let me know what you got to go try out or see or looking forward to or visiting because there's a lot out there to see. And every year it changes. I just hope they don't get rid of the good stuff like they got rid of the Osborne lights. Bring back the Osborne lights. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the list and I hope you enjoy your day. And I will see you in the parks.
Thanks for taking a ride with Average Joe Orlando.
You made it! I knew you would. Is everyone okay? Hope you still want to open an account.
Say cheese. See you later.
Thanks, everybody. You were brilliant.
At this time, gather up your personal belongings and take your small grubs by their grubby little hands as you exit. Thank you.